Hi, and welcome to another Papetti Math YouTube video. Now, this video is continuing on in exercise number 2 on lesson 5 on the quadratic formula found in chapter 10 of your workbook. Otherwise, if you're just watching this video as a tutorial, I hope it's helpful. If it is helpful at the end of this video, please give it a thumbs up. Otherwise, tell me in the comments what I could do to have you better understand it. All right, so we're going to take a look at part B right here. And part B is going to have us, again, use the quadratic formula to find the exact zeros, and we're going to have to put our answer in simplest radical form. So again, we have our equation is equal to 0. So we want to first start off by listing out our A, our B, and our C values. So our A value is going to be 9, our B value will be -6, and our C value -11, going by this equation right here. Now that I know my values, I'm going to rewrite my quadratic formula. X is equal to -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2 times a. Okay, now I need to substitute in my exact values over here. So I'll have negative b, and b is -6, so I'm going to need a double negative, plus or minus the square root of b squared, make sure you put that -6 in parentheses, minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2 times a, which is 9. Okay, we're going to need to get our calculators out for this one. We have a lot of numbers, but first let's start off by just doing negative, negative. That will give us a +6. So let's go ahead and let's write 6 plus or minus. Now let's do some simplifying in that square root. -6 squared, we could do that one in our heads. That's 36, positive. Now we have 4 times 9 times 11. 4 times 9 times -11, which will give us -396. So we're going to have a minus a negative, which is the same thing as plus 396. All of that divided by 2 times 9, which is 18. If you need to pause the video there, go back and see what we just did. It might be helpful. Otherwise, we're going to continue by simplifying a little bit further. So we have 396 plus 36 under the square root. So we're going to have 6 plus or minus the square root of, when you add those two together, you get 432 over 18. Now again, this is very close to our answer, but the first thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to simplify that radical. So again, I'm going to bring my work over here, and I'm going to write 432, and I'm going to simplify. And instead of starting with 2 like I did over here, I could see that this number is divisible by 3. So let's start off with dividing by 3. So we're going to have the square root of 3 times the square root of 144 will give me the square root of 432. Circle my 3. And now two numbers that multiply here are going to be 12 and 12. Okay, 12, you could choose multiple things. You could choose 6 and you could choose 2, or you could choose 4 and 3. Either way will get you to the same answer. And finally, 6 will be the square root of 3 times the square root of 2, circle, circle, and square root of 4 is 2 and 2. So again, this is my prime factor tree for 432. Now that I have my prime factor tree, I could continue on over here and I could simplify that radical using my prime factor tree. So I'm going to continue my work right here. I'm going to have x is equal to 6 plus or minus, and now whatever I have a pair of, I'm going to put outside the radical. So I have a pair of 3s, so I'll cross off 2 3s, and I'll write 1 3 on the outside of the radical. I have a pair of 2s, so I'll cross off 2 2s, and I'll write a 2 on the outside. I have another pair of 2s, so I'll cross off 2 more 2s, and I'll write another 2 on the outside. And then I have a single 3 up here, so I'll cross off that single 3 and write the single 3 inside the radical. And again, this is all over 18. Okay, now let's keep going. We have x equals 6 plus or minus 3 times 2 is 12, radical 3. over 18. And my final step in this whole entire process is to take a look and see if any numbers here are they all have a greatest common factor. Is there a greatest common factor of 6, 12, and 18? And if you look at those three numbers, you should think to yourself, yes, they have a greatest common factor of 6. So you could divide this 6, 12, and 18 all by 6 to simplify it one final step further. And 6 divided by 6 will give you 1, plus or minus 12 divided by 6 will give you 2. You keep the radical 3 as it is, over 18 divided by 6, which is 3. So your final answer there in simplest radical form is x is equal to 1 plus or minus 2 radical 3 divided by 3. Lots of work in this problem too. Again, if this video was helpful, then please give it a thumbs up to let me know. Otherwise, you could comment in the comments and tell me what I could do to help you better understand it. If you're ready to move on to parts C and D in the next video, click the link that just showed up.